this next presentation, please welcome Chief Changemaker at Global Destination Sustainability Movement, Guy Bigwood, and the Communications Changemaker at GDS Movement, Melissa Baird.
Hello, good morning, good afternoon, everyone. It's delighting to be with you. I'm calling in from Barcelona here. And for the next 20 minutes, Melissa and myself have the pleasure of sharing some of our insights about storytelling. But first, I thought we'd start with a story. So once upon a time, a long, long time ago, in fact, about 11 years ago or 12 years ago in Copenhagen, I was working with Copenhagen and Sina's team and Sina's predecessors on a climate change conference. And we started to realize the potential of using an event and a conference to change how the city was being developed. And we started to develop a strategy for the destination. And the strategy started to create success, and it started to inspire others. And Gothenburg started to work on something. And then we realized it was great, we should encourage more. So we got another 15 destinations working on sharing data and ideas. And then someone said, how do we know when we get a sustainable destination? And at that point, we said, well, we need to create a system up to use data to analyze where we are and where we go forward. So now fast forward to 2021, and we got 75 destinations around the world using data to benchmark and drive forward and performance in their sustainability strategies. But what we've learned from that is not only data is important, but the stories that we tell. And that's even more important now as we start to look at the shift that needs to happen. What we've heard a lot from the speakers today is how there has been this starting of a shift from degenerative to sustainable thinking, but that's not good enough for the challenges we have for the future. We need to shift to regenerative form of thinking. A type of thinking where we're recovering, rejuvenating the economic, the social, and the environmental systems. So the communities, the people, the nature all around us. And so what we're going to do is really share and look into that concept of regeneration and how do we catalyze change. Melissa, over to you.
Thank you, Guy. So in this extraordinary story that began, suddenly it's all changed. And we're facing the most astonishing threats and challenges, and it's got everybody in a flat spin, and it's making us rethink how we relate to each other. It's one of the biggest invitations out of this crisis, is how do we create relationships with meaning? And most importantly, our relationships with nature. Jaume, I see you as Spider-Man in the middle of this network. As you described, it is such a vital aspect of our recovery process as we see our interconnectivity in all things. And how does that impact the stories that we tell? So Homo sapiens are remarkable creatures. Not only are we incredibly resilient and able to adapt, but we're able to take disparate pieces of information and turn them into wonderful stories. Our words, our creativity, and our ability to do that actually makes stories one of the most regenerative and renewable assets that we actually have. It's always interesting in marketing because there's been such a focus on segmentation, and we've spoken about bottom-up and top-down strategies, but consider that your target audience, wherever they may be, in government, policy, destination decision makers, supply chains, everybody is a person. And we need to look at how we talk to people. I want to show you an example of how a powerful brand has managed to do just that.
Hey girl, don't lie to me. Tell me, where did you stay last night? In the pines, where the sun don't make you shine. I will shiver Tell me where they stay last night. In the parts where the sun don't ever shine. I was
So what Diesel was able to do was be bold, provocative, really claim the space of the heart of one of the most important shifting perspectives on our planet. And also one of the key things about sustainability is diversity and inclusion. They've made it emotional, it's unapologetic, it's inspiring, and it really grabs you. So how could a destination make use of the same principles that brands have used throughout the last 30 years to develop equity that is sometimes larger than some of the developing nations' economies on this planet? They've done it by taking a space in the hierarchy, and many of you might be familiar with Maslow's hierarchy of needs, but there's a great deal about how it speaks to our priorities. And when we're looking at the issues that we're facing, it's really important to position the story of your regeneration, the story of your sustainability strategy in this hierarchy and use it to help accelerate change. This is a great story, and.
Oops.
Hey, oh, how you doing? Hey, Roger, how are you? I'm just relaxing in the Swiss Alps. Take a look. Yeah, it's good for you. Listen, about the Switzerland film you want me to do? Yeah, did you see the boot film I sent you? I'm watching it as we speak. I don't like it. What? Just look at where you are, Roger. I mean, you got your mountains, your skiing resorts, your charming little towns, green valleys. There's no drama. No drama at all. Seriously? But did you see the bits of the sunset? Roger, from a certain type of actor, I need an edge, conflict, jeopardy. Switzerland is just too perfect. Yeah, I guess you're right. That's exactly what I'm talking about. You guys are too nice. You should have said, fuck you. Okay, listen. How about the two of us on this special mission? We ski down the slope. Ski down the slope together? We go even skydiving. Come on. Then we land on these fields and the cows are grassing. Roger, I have to be honest with you. It's not happening. Sorry, Roger. Maybe call Hanks. Who?
In under 2 minutes, they're able to present the beauty, the perfection, the magnificence of Switzerland. And there is this incredible sustainable strategy that's probably one of the most well thought out and comprehensive approaches to inclusivity and using sustainability as a narrative of enrichment and a narrative of measurement, a narrative of engagement. How wonderful it would have been to bring these two stories together, because so often sustainability is seen as something that sits on the outside, but we've heard today that it's very, very integral, not only to our recovery, but also to our future. So Guy, where to next?
So we thought now we'd pick on 7 top tips for you. From our work analysing and working with all these destinations, we kind of picked 7. There's a lot more, but we picked 7 for now. Okay. So number 1 is about making it local and authentic. And we love the work being done in New Zealand at the moment. New Zealand have done an amazing job at really thinking of tourism They're obviously majorly hit, being almost exclusively a flying destination. And so they thought about the pillars of what their growth should be in the future and where the community and their environment sits in that. But what I want to draw out is they've made it incredibly local and authentic. They really linked it to the Maori values and culture. And by using Maori words to explain these key concepts, they're using indigenous wisdom to drive their strategy forward. So this is beautiful. It's unique. It's very special. It's interesting. The second thing is about storytelling is collaborative. And I'll carry on with New Zealand here. And so one of the campaigns they've done was a beautiful thing. And it's really about how do they enable collaborative change. And so they've done this initiative called Good Morning World New Zealand, where they engage their residents to record a morning greeting. Remember that New Zealand's the first place in the world that sees the new day. And so they've got these 365 amazing greetings from different residents and citizens of New Zealand, showing the most amazing, beautiful parts of New Zealand. So super powerful, super authentic and user generated. And I'm sure Dan in the next session at Crowdrift is going to talk a lot more about that. But collaborative storytelling is key right now. And with collaboration comes change. Then we talk about storytelling, story doing. And I'm going to pick up an example here from Petra and Ljubljana, because I think this is one of my favorite stories. You can't just start telling a story. You've got to make story happen. And that you do it by doing. So Petra and the team there, they realized they had a challenge in Ljubljana with kind of local food and local menus and a local cuisine. So they did various actions to recover some hidden recipes and hidden plates. They worked with chefs to create a new cookery book. And then they did this. They did twice a year, they did something called the Local Grown Food Exchange, where they brought all the suppliers together, all the small suppliers, the small businesses, with all the buyers. And they started trading and doing this marketplace. So it's successful. It started once and then twice a year. Now they invite hospitals, they invite schools to the event, and there's even more market and commerce happening. And again, tourism driving that forward. So that's a beautiful example. This fourth area is about data. And the GDS data is super important to us. But it's really important storytelling. It allows you to tell stories with credibility. And that's, as Jelma was talking about how Valencia does it. But in this case, it's about Sydney. Sydney have a 2030 goal, and they want to reduce their carbon emissions by 70%. They realize that 11% of the city's emissions comes from tourism and hospitality. So something very severe and important. So they really realized that they needed to work together. So they used the data here to create the stories to drive forward their program, which has then become the Sustainable Destination Partnership. And that's doing a great job at bringing actors together to collaborate on creating this change. But data is great, but it also has its perils. It can seem very dispassionate. And it's important, when you look at a kind of an infographic over on the right-hand side, to realize that data needs stories to really bring it alive. And so it's important to put your shoes into the hands or put your feet into the shoes of the visitors and the residents. And remember what it's like to not know, because many of us who do these campaigns really know the data inside out. But you've got to think about what it's like if you don't know the data. What was the world like before, now, and will be in the future? How can we make this story inspiring? How can we maybe lose the jargon? Because sometimes jargon jars. And as someone who's worked in sustainability for 20 years, I'm very guilty at doing that. So I think when that comes out, it's like, we've been working a long time here to talk about ocean plastic. But it was this picture that painted 1,000 words of all the data that we were trying to share and inspire action. This was a photo done by a journalist in the Pacific who was taking pictures of seahorses, and he caught this earbud. This picture went viral and summed up the challenge that we've got on the planet and catalyzed mass efforts and momentum to address ocean plastic. It was perhaps the most important photo of the year. So a picture paints 1,000 words, and we have to get away from using stock imagery, the classic tree or the hand with the globe, to something that's very unique and very special to your destination and to your challenge or issues in this case. Importance of humour. Humour is important. We saw humour being linked into the Robert De Niro advert for Switzerland. But here's another great example from Oslo.
Oslo is rubbish. Don't believe me? Let me show you around. Take the leisure experiences. Frankly, garbage. Your towel, Peter. Then there's the food scene. A complete waste. Rubbishimo. Even the bikes are garbage. Unloved and fit for the scrap heap. I mean, who would peddle this junk? As for the art scene, nothing more than recycled rubbish. Still, as they say, one man's trash is another man's treasure.
So the Nordics there and Oslo did a great story of activating their Green Capital Award and used humour to do it. But the last one here is really coming full circle. It's about activating the heart. How do we use heart to really transform and inspire change?
Listen, it's the 2020s, and freedom still can't be taken for granted in many places around the world. But for us lucky ones who think we have it, do we ever really stop and think what it actually consists of? Here in Helsinki, freedom is about becoming the best version of yourself without compromising on your well-being. We believe freedom is finding a healthy balance in life, getting support in reaching your dreams, accessing nature wherever and whenever, and loving whoever you love without holding back. But that's just our take on it. What does freedom mean to you? In this limited documentary series, we'll share stories of Helsinki freedoms as told by award-winning directors. Tune in now. The new city of the free welcomes you.
So that was the campaign, how Helsinki was unlocking the real concept of sustainability and more than that, regeneration at all levels, social, environmental, attracting people to live, work and visit there. So there's 7 tips. Back to you, Melissa, to round us up.
I'm going back to what Geert said about wanting to shift group mentality. Storytelling is one of the most powerful ways. Great data might help inform choices, but it's great stories that change the heart. So it's a collective call to action for all of you professionals, all of the marketeers, to how we can change the narrative. As Brad Dean said, it's not the solutions of the past that are going to solve the problems of today, and neither is it the stories of the past that are going to help us make sense of the future. We have to work with new words, new skill sets, new tool sets. And we would love to invite you to join us on this journey as we've created the GDS Academy, where we have a variety of different courses available for professionals looking to navigate the transition ahead. And one of them is the masterclass in regenerative storytelling. It enables you to bring your strategies to life and really get under the skin and into the heart of your target market, your tourists, your locals, and most importantly, everyone within your ecosystem. So thank you to Skift, thank you to the sponsors, thank you to the speakers, and thank you for your attention, and we look forward to any questions.
Mm-hmm.